now time for the final game in my On Yer Bike series, and that's going to be Action Biker. This one was interesting because it was a tie-in with KP Skips Crisps and their mascot Clumsy Colin. So let's get that one loaded. Right then, here's the packaging for Action Biker. As I mentioned, it was branded and co-promoted by KP Skips, which are still available if you like those crisps. I always hated them. Prawn cocktail flavour, horrible things. And there's a picture of Clumsy Colin, their mascot, on the front of it. Looking at the spine, we are in grid style packaging. This game's from 1985, but you'll notice the grid is yellow. And on the back there's just the loading instructions. So inside the packaging we've got screenshots on a nice yellow background. Another picture of Clumsy Colin. You can see some of the interesting screenshots there. And inside, the usual stuff. The aim of the game: steer Clumsy Colin through the streets of a four-way 360-degree scrolling city. Can you scroll in 360 degrees? I'm not sure. So there's lots. Basically, you've got to do various assault courses and things. And you've got the controls, which are pretty straightforward. Some gear changing involved there. And moving on to this section, we've got the foreign language instructions in a very tiny font that I can barely read. And that's pretty much it. And now the loading screens come up, and once again Clumsy Colin is there in all his glory. So here's the title screen of Action Biker, which is unspectacular. Let's get the game started. So you're driving a motorbike as expected, and this is an early example of an open world game. You can drive anywhere and do whatever you like within reason. Controls are left and right to rotate the angle of the bike, forward to accelerate and backwards to decelerate. The world's not very big, it's hardly Grand Theft Auto, but you can drive around and do what you like. The aim of the game is actually to collect items to, and there's one of them, to kit yourself out ready for a race, which is the end part of the game, which I might add I've never actually got as far as. So you pick this item up carefully. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so I've got a crash helmet, and only one of these items appears at a time, so the idea is you've got to go around and collect all the bits and pieces first and foremost to compete in the race, and they do start to appear in more difficult places as the game progresses. I've got some riding leathers now as well. Graphics are kind of cool. Isometric view does make it rather difficult to control where you're going at times. And a mention for the theme tune as well, which is a Rob Hubbard tune, and a very popular one, although it does get a little bit annoying being played over and over again during the game. So that was a brief introduction to how the game works. So let's go and find some more of those items, and I've got no idea where they are. Okay, so there's another one. So I've got to try and get over this little bridge now. There we go. And what's this going to give me? Highway code book. Don't see how that's going to be very useful in a race. Now you can see there's also a fuel gauge which is gradually decreasing. So I'm going to go and refuel at the petrol station, which is where you start. Which is here. So you go and refuel. As you pull into the petrol station, the fuel gauge goes up, which is nice, and off you go again. Okay, so here's the next item that I need to collect. And it's a gearbox. Now this is a bit different, these are more important because now I can change between high and low gear, as illustrated in the bottom right hand corner. and when you're in low gear you can accelerate faster, which presumably is useful for the race. The other thing I should mention is that every time you collect an item, the bonus that's on the right hand side of the status bar, that's added to your score, and then the bonus resets to I think 7,000 or something like that, or maybe it's different each time. So the next items just appeared there. Let's go see what that is, and it's a little bit more tricky to get hold of because of where it is, so you've got to take it quite slowly and not hit the fence. That's a petrol gauge. I've been playing for about 5 minutes now and not found anything. This is one of the more infuriating parts of the game, is sometimes it's just impossible to find the little pieces that you need, although I do think that they appear in the same place every game, so once you've found them and remember where they are, it shouldn't be too big a problem. But I'm really struggling to find the next item at the moment. The map is not that big, and yet for some reason I don't seem to be able to spot where it is. Aha! There we go. Okay, that's a large fuel tank, so that allows you to carry more fuel, which is useful, obviously. So let's just go and see what that does now. I've got that. I go back to the petrol station and refill up. Somewhere down this street, hopefully. There we go. Okay, so you can see there's a lot more fuel in the tank now, which is useful so you don't have to make so many return trips to there. Let's see what I can find next. Again, this one, they're starting to put the items now in slightly more difficult to get to places to try and make you crash. You do get 5 lives, so you can afford to crash a couple of times, but okay, that's another one collected. Right, so I've now lost 2 stupid lives so far, crashing into things that I should have avoided. I think I know where the next item is, hopefully. There we go. What's this then? Mud guards, really useful. And here's the next item, which is going to involve me going over this little bridge, and this is where things tend to start going wrong for me. Oh, that's not too bad. It's just a case of taking it really slowly in some parts of the game. And sunglasses also pretty useless. Okay, I'm now on my last life, so I better start talking about the game because I'm not going to go through playing it again. It's quite a fun game. The freedom to drive around is quite fun, but it soon gets boring because you just spend your time frustrated looking for all these bits and pieces and not finding them half the time. So it is quite an original game, and for that reason it was worth the $1.99. It's got a good tune and it's a nice control mechanism. It's just a bit frustrating. So let's say that it was worth $1.99. Something I also want to mention is it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the character from Skip's Clumsy Colin once you get into the game, so I suspect the game was probably developed independently and then the Clumsy Colin name was slapped onto it at the last minute. Which is fair enough. Okay, so there's another piece here. I could very easily crash into this stuff trying to get this piece because it's so close to the edge of something. Let's see what it is. Greater maximum speed, which I'm not using at all at the moment, speed, because I'm just trundling around. I don't know if you, so let's just see how fast I can go. Try not to crash. This road goes straight through the whole game, so There's the low gear from acceleration when I spotted the next piece there. So you really can blast your way through the level once you've got the power ups. Let's see if we can get back to where that item was now. Well, this looks dicey. I could definitely end up crashing here. Can of pop, really useful. I'm doing better than I thought I would because I still haven't lost this last life, but this one looks like the kind of place where I might do so. So let's see how I get on here. I've already said my piece about the game, but I'd also just like to say that that's the end of the On Your Bike series, and hope you enjoyed it. And I've actually managed to do that okay, so on it goes again. This could be the longest video yet. Oh, there we go. Fell into the river. So that's the end of that.